Could the San Francisco 49ers have just made the kind of panic move that desperate teams make when their championship window is slamming shut? The Niners just traded for Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson, and while most are calling it a smart depth acquisition, the timing and circumstances reveal something far more telling about San Francisco's current state of vulnerability. Sometimes the most revealing moves in professional sports aren't the blockbuster trades that dominate headlines, they're the quiet, seemingly routine transactions that expose deeper organizational concerns. The 49ers' acquisition of Brian Robinson falls squarely into this category, and for Arizona Cardinals fans, this move should be cause for celebration rather than concern. When Niners Nation's Kyle Posey bluntly stated, "Every running back behind CMC is dead," he wasn't being dramatic. He was revealing the harsh reality of a franchise scrambling to patch holes in what was supposed to be their championship-caliber roster. This isn't strategic roster building. This is emergency triage. The 49ers' current situation reads like a medical chart from a particularly brutal NFL season. Their running back depth, once considered a strength, has been decimated by injuries that have left Christian McCaffrey as virtually their only healthy option. When an organization reaches the point where they're making emergency trades for depth players, it signals problems that extend far beyond simple roster management. Brian Robinson, while a serviceable NFL running back, represents exactly the type of acquisition teams make when they're operating from a position of weakness rather than strength. His career numbers, 2,329 rushing yards and 15 touchdowns, tell the story of a reliable but unspectacular player who can fill a role without elevating the position. The timing of this trade is particularly revealing. With the regular season rapidly approaching, the 49ers found themselves in the uncomfortable position of having no viable backup options behind McCaffrey. This isn't the calculated roster construction of a confident championship contender, it's the desperate scrambling of a team trying to prevent their season from unraveling before it begins. Robinson's recent performance history provides mixed signals about what he brings to San Francisco. His 2024 campaign under Cliff Kingsbury yielded 799 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns, numbers that suggest competence without excellence. For a team accustomed to elite production from their skill positions, Robinson represents a significant step down from their usual standards. What makes this trade particularly intriguing for Arizona Cardinals fans is Robinson's history against their team. In 2 games against the Cardinals, he's shown both his potential and his limitations in ways that should provide valuable intelligence for Arizona's defensive preparation. His 2023 performance against Arizona was thoroughly forgettable. 19 carries for just 59 yards represents the kind of inefficient production that defensive coordinators love to see from opposing running backs. However, his 2024 showing painted a different picture, with 21 carries for 101 yards demonstrating his ability to find running room when given adequate opportunities. This split performance history suggests that Robinson's effectiveness depends heavily on game circumstances, blocking schemes, and defensive preparation. For Arizona's coaching staff, this provides a clear blueprint for containing him when the teams meet. The Cardinals have already seen Robinson at both his best and worst, giving them valuable insight into his tendencies and limitations. The fact that Robinson managed only modest success against Arizona's defense in his better performance should provide confidence for Cardinals fans. If he struggled to dominate against Arizona while playing for Washington, his effectiveness within San Francisco's system against improved Cardinals defenses becomes even more questionable. Beyond the immediate roster implications, Robinson's acquisition exposes several concerning trends within the 49ers organization. First, their depth development has clearly failed if they're forced to make emergency trades for backup running backs. Second, their injury management and player conditioning programs appear inadequate given the extent of their current health crisis. Kyle Posey's candid assessment that most of their wide receivers are hurting as well paints a picture of an organization dealing with systematic health issues that extend far beyond normal NFL attrition. When multiple position groups are simultaneously dealing with significant injuries, It suggests deeper problems with training methods, player load management, or simple bad luck that could define their entire season. For a franchise that has built its recent success on offensive versatility and depth, being reduced to emergency acquisitions represents a fundamental shift in their competitive positioning. The 49ers have traditionally been able to absorb injuries because of their superior depth and system coaching. If they're now scrambling for backup players on the trade market, their competitive advantage has been significantly compromised. Robinson's move to San Francisco creates interesting dynamics throughout the NFC West that could benefit Arizona in unexpected ways. The 49ers' desperation to acquire depth suggests they're not as confident in their current roster construction as their public statements might indicate. From Arizona's perspective, facing a 49ers team that's relying on emergency acquisitions and injury replacements represents a significant opportunity. Teams operating from positions of weakness often make tactical compromises that prepared opponents can exploit. The Cardinals' coaching staff now knows that San Francisco's offensive depth is compromised and can game plan accordingly. The psychological aspect cannot be understated either. When championship-caliber teams are forced to make panic moves, it often signals the beginning of larger competitive decline. The 49ers have enjoyed sustained success partly because of their organizational stability and depth. If they're now making reactive moves instead of proactive roster building, their competitive edge may be diminishing. While Robinson brings NFL experience and basic competency to the 49ers, his skill set doesn't naturally align with San Francisco's sophisticated offensive system. The Niners have traditionally succeeded with running backs who can excel in multiple roles, receiving out of the backfield, pass protection, and complex route running. Robinson's profile suggests a more traditional between-the-tackles runner who may struggle with the versatility demands of San Francisco's scheme. His receiving statistics, 20 receptions for 159 yards in 2024, demonstrate adequate but unspectacular pass-catching ability. In an offense that frequently utilizes running backs as receivers and check-down options, Robinson's limitations in this area could force the 49ers to simplify their play calling or accept reduced effectiveness from their running back position. The transition to a new system mid-season also presents significant challenges. Robinson will need to learn new terminology, blocking assignments, and route concepts while simultaneously competing for playing time. This learning curve could limit his immediate effectiveness and force the 49ers to operate with reduced offensive complexity during his adjustment period. For Cardinals fans, the 49ers' acquisition of Robinson should be viewed through the lens of divisional competition and organizational trajectory. When your primary division rival is making emergency moves to address depth concerns, it suggests vulnerabilities that can be exploited over both the short and long term. Arizona's own roster construction, while not perfect, appears more stable and sustainable than San Francisco's current injury-riddled situation. The Cardinals have invested in building depth through the draft and player development rather than relying on emergency acquisitions, suggesting a more thoughtful approach to roster building. The 49ers' current predicament also highlights the importance of organizational depth and player development, areas where Arizona has been steadily improving. While San Francisco scrambles to address immediate needs, Arizona can continue focusing on long-term development and strategic roster construction. The Brian Robinson trade represents more than a simple depth acquisition. It's a window into the 49ers' current state of organizational stress. When championship contenders are reduced to making emergency moves for backup players, it signals the kind of systematic problems that create opportunities for divisional rivals. For Arizona Cardinals fans, this move should be cause for optimism rather than concern. It reveals a San Francisco team operating from weakness rather than strength, scrambling to address problems rather than building from positions of advantage. The 49ers' desperation move might have solved their immediate depth concerns, but it's also exposed their vulnerabilities for everyone in the division to see. Sometimes the most valuable intelligence comes not from what teams acquire, but from why they felt compelled to acquire it in the first place. What do you think about the 49ers' emergency move for Robinson? Does this signal bigger problems in San Francisco, or is it just smart depth management? And how do you see this affecting the Cardinals' chances in the division race? Drop your thoughts below and smash that like button if you think Arizona should be feeling pretty good about their rivals' desperation moves right now.